Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Deja Vu, and now we are on to the second set of MBC Game Hero versus STX. So this game is going to be a PvP for MBC Game Hero. We've got Jaehoon, who for his PvP record, he hasn't played a lot, he's only played 9 games, but he's lost all except 2 of them, so he is 2-6 for a really crappy percentage. Although he has been playing nothing but really good Protoss. He's lost his last 6 in a row, but they're to Bisu, Stork, Munch, Jangbi, Best, and Anytime. And none of those are bad Protosses by any measure. You just, you know, if he was an up-and-coming Protoss, you'd think he'd be able to steal 1 or 2 of those, which he was unable to. And then for Cal's actually worst matchup is versus Protoss. Even though he is a dragon, he is exactly 31-31 at 50%. And for some reason, I will never understand this unless someone wants to explain this to me. He goes by Gajila now rather than Cal. To me, he's just Cal. I'm going to keep calling him Cal. This map is Destination, and Cal, not Gajila. I hate that name. It sounds retarded to me. He's at the 12 o'clock position. And then Jaehoon is the yellow Protoss down there at the 6 o'clock position. And yeah, it is going to be a PvP, so as always with PvP, it always comes down to the tech choice. You don't usually see too much proxy and stuff. I mean, sometimes you do. Sometimes Bisu can do that ridiculous proxy in front of, I don't remember. I remember watching callers like Pimpus Plays, and he built his gateways inside his opponent's base. Which, you know, for PvP among decent players, that usually will never happen. Both players are placing pylons within their base. And yeah, I think this game is just going to come down to whether someone decides to go for a Dark Templar rather than Reavers, or if someone goes Reavers rather than Observers and gets mistimes it and is unable to defend against DTs. It usually comes down to that tech choice: who decides to get detection and who decides to skip it. And the scouting probes are ridiculously important in PvP, because if you can keep your probe around long enough to see what the tech choice is, whether they throw down a Citadel or a robotics facility, you are in an absolute huge advantage here. So it looks like both players are just going to throw down their initial gateways in a pretty standard position, and then they're going to go scout. And yeah, we're going to see who's able to keep their scouting probe alive longer. And if someone can keep it alive long enough to find some tech, I think they will definitely have the advantage. Yeah, both players are pretty much mirror builds right now, throwing down their simulators at almost the exact same time. Both players are reaching each other's base at almost the exact same time. It's kind of crazy that pro gamers are at that point where they actually do everything at the exact same time. If you were to watch their screens, like the simulators get started at the exact same time, they start Zealots at the exact same time. I mean, obviously we have no idea whether they're starting a Zealot or not. Both players actually throwing down anti-mana pylons within their mineral line, stopping any sort of harassment from that way. And I didn't actually see it, but I'm gonna guess that they went down at the exact same time too. Yeah, and a Zealot actually out for Cal, so he's gonna try and take out Jaehoon's scouting probe with that Zealot rather than waiting for the Dragoon. And it looks like Jaehoon's waiting for a Dragoon to take out the probe. Actually, he did build a Zealot, and he's going to send it straight to Cal's base and see if he can get some harassment done. If he can kill a probe or 2, that would be a huge advantage. Jaehoon throwing down a Cybernized Core. I assume Cal is doing the same, probably at the exact same time. And yep, that's what's going on right now. Behind his mineral lines, he's using that anti-mana pylon to get behind his mineral lines. Second Zealot, I believe, is out for Jaehoon, and that one is going to go try and chase down the scouting probe. And that is kind of odd, actually. Usually only see 1 Zealot produced, and not the second. Usually the players wait for the Dragoon or something, but I guess for some reason Jaehoon decided that he needed to get that scouting probe out just a little bit earlier, and he's going to wait. And actually second Zealot out for Cal as well. And the probe and the Zealot are going to try and do some good micro here and try and take out a probe for Cal within his mineral line. So far, Cal's been doing a good job of hiding that probe and keeping that probe alive despite its damage. And if he can keep it alive long enough, it won't. It'll recharge its shield, so that way the Zealot and the probe will have a harder time. Otherwise, I believe it's 1 probe hit and 2 Zealot hits or something like that to kill a probe. Something along those lines, but it has to be in that order. I know it is order specific, actually. And Dragoon actually out for Cal too. That Zealot is so close to getting a kill, and no kills. Jaehoon's Zealot does not get a kill, and he loses that Zealot and that probe, absolutely accomplishing no damage at all. Cal's probe actually got forced out of Jaehoon's base, but now he's able to sneak it right back in, but he's not going to see anything. Jaehoon is actually throwing out a Citadel of Adun, so he's going to be going for Dark Templars, almost surely. That's normally what you see. And Robotics Facility going down for Cal. So as long as he goes Observers first and doesn't try and skip Observers and go straight for Reavers, he should be perfectly fine to defend against the Dark Templars. And I honestly I think that the Robotics Facility is the better tech choice more often than not, again, in PvP, just because if you go safe, if you go 2-gate obs, then your Dark Templar, if your opponent goes 2-gate obs, I should say, then your opponent is going to have a huge advantage on you, unless you can somehow sneak your Dark Templar past his Observers. But it almost feels like it depends on just getting almost lucky. And Jaehoon and Cal actually engaging in the middle with 2 Dragoons each. Cal's 1 Dragoon actually took a few hits, didn't actually lose any life, just lost a couple, just lost all of its shields, but that's okay. And Cal actually has a probe sitting at his natural. I wonder if he's setting up for an expansion. I hope not. Usually when in PvP, when a player goes for an expansion, they lose just because they don't have 400 murals. And Jaehoon's probe actually does get up the ramp, and he's going to get a scout. He's going to see the Robotics Facility, so he's going to know that Cal's going to be going 2-gate obs into expansion. Well, at least 2-gate obs. And maybe not know that the expansion. Jaehoon actually throwing down an expansion at the same time, so maybe this won't be death for Cal. He's just gonna go with that 2-gate obs expansion, and it looks like Jaehoon actually throwing down 3 more gateways. He's up to 4 gateways. First DT is out, and I hope that observatory gets down in time and that an observer can get built. Observers do have pretty short build time, so I'm thinking it will get built in time, but it might be kind of close. I bet Cal has it timed out perfectly, though. I'm assuming he isn't one of those upper class pro gamers, so he should have it fine. Cal throwing down 1 more gateway, so he'll be at 2 gateways. Jaehoon will be at 4 soon enough, and we will see whether or not Jaehoon can take advantage of his production capabilities and get some sort of a timing attack push done and try and eliminate, do some damage to Cal's expansion or something along those lines. He isn't throwing out a robotics facility, so it won't be drops of any sort. It will be a straight up attack. And the Dark Templar has reached Cal's base, but an observer's out, and Jaehoon, if he tries to go in with that Dark Templar, is just going to get picked off. Yeah, it's just going to get picked off. It's being chased around by the observer. But okay, so Cal is going to back off. He's not going to be able to chase down that Dark Templar. His units aren't quite fast enough. But he's going to settle down and pick up his expansion and try and gain an advantage that way. He didn't use much resources so far on tech units yet, which is going to let him get to higher tech faster than Jaehoon, who did use some resources on that Dark Templar and everything. But Jaehoon looks like he's going to go for a push here. He's moving out with approximately 7 Zealots and 3 or 4 Dragoons from what I can see, and he's still going to have that Dark Templar out in the field. So Cal only has 5, 6, 7 Dragoons and a couple Zealots, and he does have a shuttle, and if he can get a Reaver to pop out pretty soon, this rush by Jaehoon is going to do little to nothing. I'm assuming, of course, that Cal's Reaver Micro is going to be effective, which it usually is because it is Cal. Forge and Robotics Facility going down for Jaehoon. Did not actually expect to see a Forge this early. If he was going to go... Oh, wow! Jaehoon actually invested in the speed upgrade for Zealots. So he might even be trying to do some sort of a... I don't know, maybe go for a run-by of some sort, or do something along those lines. But I don't know how he's going to cross these bridges. It's going to be extremely difficult. Cal's pulling probes off of his line to block one bridge, and he has 2 Zealots on the other bridge into his natural. So he's going to be able to hold those pretty well. And he's got a lot of Dragoons, so I don't know how Jaehoon's going to be able to push in with that. He does have more units in the field, but I feel like he has less tech. So if it doesn't do any damage right now to Cal, I feel like he's going to fall behind. And Jaehoon is throwing down a couple photon cannons in his base, probably worried that Cal decided to switch over into like Dark Templar tech of his own and going for a drop, so he's just gonna have those cannons there for detection, I would assume. I mean, any other sort of air units probably isn't gonna be effective. I'm trying to see if that shuttle, I didn't see it actually pick up any Zealots, I just saw it with the Reaver. So he might be just going in with a pure shuttle Reaver harass, with 1 Reaver, no Zealots for cover, but I might be wrong, didn't actually see it per se pick everything up, only saw it pick up the Reaver. And Jaehoon actually moving his forces all the way back. I don't know, that seems, even if he saw that shuttle, that seems like an over response. He doesn't need to certainly doesn't need to bring back like 10 Zealots to deal with the Reaver. He really only needs to bring back a bunch of the Dragoons. And that Reaver that Scarab actually did get 7 kills, 7 probe kills. That's huge. 9, I think, 8 or 9 probe kills now for that Reaver. So that Reaver did a lot of damage already. That is pretty effective harass there for him. Cybernet's course spinning for Jaehoon, so he's going to be getting Dragoon range. He's a little late on that. I assume that Cal already has